Good afternoon. Good afternoon. We'll get going in just a moment. Welcome along to the briefing. Just give people a chance to come and join us, but nice to see you live. Afternoon, just giving people a chance to come and join us. We'll give it another 10-20 seconds and then we will start our session this afternoon. Very nice to have you join us. Okay, well, let us begin. I'm very conscious of everybody's time and I'm very conscious that there is actually quite a lot to get through in today's briefing session. So welcome along. If this is your first safeguarding briefing with me, then you're very welcome and it's lovely to have you here. If you're watching this on replay, make sure that anything that you're listening to is still relevant. We're recording this in February 2024. So welcome along to today's safeguarding briefing. I'm your host, I'm Kate, I'm the founder of the Safeguarding Association and we're specialist in supporting safeguarding professionals, particularly those who work with 15, 16 to 24, 25-year-olds. It's a very difficult age range and a very challenging one legally as well. This is me, lots and lots of experience. I am actually practicing at the moment. I'm the founder of the Safeguarding Association, trustee for Cordwell Youth, and I'm an independent safeguarding chair, reviewer, supervisor, whole host of things going on. Some ground rules whilst we're working through today's about 30-minute session. Keep yourself somewhere quiet so you can listen. There may be things that you don't want little ears to hear, so you might want to pop some headphones in if you're not in the office. Also, if you've got a question, please use the Q&A function if you're here live, and I will do my best to answer that for you. Okay, let us have a think about what has been going on. So we are now in, and apologies, my dog's decided to bark just as I am live with you. All the delights of having to work from home with the so what has been going on? Well, I'm seeing a huge rise in concerns around behaviour. So it is a huge rise in concerns around behaviour. There is an increase in mental health that is on the up still, but what staff and what safeguarding leads are really telling me is that there is a significant increase in issues with behaviour, and that's at all levels of the kind of education strata. There really isn't any discrimination there at all as to quite what is going on. And this can't just be down to COVID, but there are issues ongoing. So if you're not seeing it yet in your particular area, be warned, it may well start to arise. We're going to look at this in three sections. We're going to first have a look at some reports. So what are the more recent reports that we are seeing? We'll then have a look at some of the new or updated guidance that there is. And then finally, we'll have a look at some of the updated legislation and case law that is coming out, which is relevant to safeguarding and child protection. So firstly, let us take a look at some of the reports which are coming out. The NSPCC has done a study and has recorded an 18% rise in the number of calls they're receiving from inpatients in a mental health facility. And this is of young people. So this is mostly under 18s where this is occurring. We also have a new study that's showing almost half of British teens feel that they're addicted to social media. I do apologise. I don't quite know why I've got such a barky dog this afternoon. All the joys. I talk a lot, and certainly when I did the trainer update day earlier this year, we were looking at some of the recent reports from the Internet Watch Foundation. What this is now matching what police data is showing, which is that the images that the IWF calls self-generated, albeit there's potentially a level of coercion there, the police data is now showing that over half of alleged offenders making or sharing sexual images are under 18. We also have a report from the Internet Watch Foundation around the number of under 10s that are accessing sexual imagery. Worryingly as well, we have over 14,000 reports of rape or sexual assault which are being made against 10 to 17-year-olds, and the majority of these alleged perpetrators are boys. Health visitors have their governing bodies produced a report on the rise in poverty that they're witnessing, and that is being echoed right the way across. There's also an annual child safeguarding practice review, which happens every year. Every year this occurs, and that is showing that there were 393 serious incidents or rapid reviews which were held from the period of April 22 to March 2023. So a significant number of reviews. We still have more. So in terms of reports, we also have the Centre for Expertise on Child Sexual Abuse, who are reporting that over 2,000 children were placed on child protection plans in 22-23 because of sexual abuse concerns. But note that that's the lowest number in 14 years. And the last study I want to share with you is that, worryingly, when I talked about the rise in mental health, the rise in anxiety, 28% of 12 to 18-year-olds are not attending school due to anxiety, which is a fairly significant proportion for that particular age range. So that's an overview of the reports we have had recently. Bear with me a second, because I'm going to close this door because they're driving me a little bit crackers. And I don't fully know why they're barking. So I do apologise. All the joys of being live. Okay, let's have a look at some of the guidance then. Well, it'll come as no surprise to a lot of you that Working Together to Safeguard Children 2023 is now published and live. So all of us working with under 18s have to adhere to this. I did a webinar on this a couple of weeks ago, which if you want to access the replay to, you can. Just let me know and I can send you the link for that. As part of Working Together to Safeguard Children 2023, there is a new social care national framework, and we're going to look at that in a moment because there's 4 outcomes that have been set for that. And there's also a new national multi-agency practice standards, which have come about as well. Please bear with, I'm going to let the dogs out because otherwise they're going to drive us crackers for the next 20 minutes. So 4 outcomes for Children's Social Care National Framework. Within Working Together, there is an absolutely enormous focus. She's just locking the dogs in the kitchen. There's an absolute enormous focus on keeping families together, on kinship care, on familial care. Very much a drive and a focus in that direction. So these 4 outcomes are about keeping families together, making sure they get the help they need, making sure that they're supported, making sure that they're safe in and outside of their houses, and making sure that where they are in care or are care leavers, they have stable and loving homes. The other side of it, if we go back, the national multi-agency practice standards are within working together themselves. So have a look at that, and you'll see it set out within the document what those standards actually are. Okay, last section, and have a look at some legal updates for you. First one is a new piece of legislation in Scotland, which is bringing in the United Nations Convention of the Rights of the Child into Scottish legislation. And the other bit of news in relation to safeguarding in the broader sense is the Bristol University and Aberhart case, which, for those of you working in higher education, you will be aware of this, I suspect, and will be aware of the case around it. 2 big things come out of this. The first one is the court has not set a duty of care for higher education, which was one of the things Dr. Aberhart was pushing for, but the court has not done that. But what it has very clearly done is set out how important the Equality Act is, and that universities must adhere to this. And it counts and actually sits in there when you're looking at academic progress and requirement on the academic standards. So for me, this is really important to make sure that those you are in academics, those you are working with across the kind of institution, are aware of these obligations and are aware that they can't just work in isolation. That you have to make sure that your academic progression policies work with your welfare, your disability, and your safeguarding policies and processes as well. That's probably the biggest and clearest thing that is coming out from this particular piece of case law. It's huge, it's enormous. I'm going to do some training for our Safeguarding Leaders Hub members on this particular case, because I do think it has the potential to be misunderstood, and it can be far-reaching. That is an overview of what we've had going on for the last 6 to 8 weeks. Apologies for the barking dog. I don't quite know what has got into him. So I hope that hasn't upset your sound too much. Some dates for your diary should you wish to take part. There's the Working Together Updating webinar that's available on the website. Over DSL Refresher Day in March, Safeguarding in Higher Education, Defensible Decision Making, Strategic Safeguarding and Supervision Skills Training coming up this spring. If you'd like more information on any of those programs, then please let me know. If you're looking for supervision, let me know. We have some spaces left for the rest of the academic year. And if you'd like some support in terms of your DSLs, maybe your role, and you'd like some more support, a critical friend, someone to overlook your policies and procedures, then let's have a conversation about you joining our Safeguarding Leaders Hub. Again, apologies for the dog barking. I don't quite know what is going on with him. If you've got any questions, then please feel free to pop them in the Q&A now. Otherwise, I hope to see you at a next briefing in 6 weeks' time. I'm going to stop the recording.